What are those voices in your head? Good morning and welcome to my daily walk. I'm still working on the intro and how to start the show. It's a brand new podcast. I will begin with a question that is a topical type question, and that will be the theme that's covered in that day's episode, that half-hour walk. I am literally walking. I try to walk every day, but the name of the show is not just literal. It's it is literal, but it also has the other meaning, a deeper meaning. We're all on a journey. We're all on a path, right? We have a direction we are going. We're aiming in our lives, and we're either being tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine. I don't know, every to and fro. I mean, there are so many voices speaking, claiming, declaring, professing truth, professing to be correct, convincing people of any number of things. So we all have a daily walk, and we have to navigate through those voices. Ties right into our first theme, the voices. Okay. Well, let's not get to the topic yet. The topic is to keep this one episode on track. We may exhaust a topic at times, or we may not. I don't know if you could exhaust any topic, but we can do multiple episodes on one topic. I'll figure it out as we go. I do want this to be a dialogue, and that's what the email address is about. If you heard me say something or triggered something in you and you want to contribute to the discussion, I will read emails. I'll read all of them, I guess, if I can. I mean, I'll try. For as long as possible, I'll read all of them on the air. And I already know I can't address all of them, but I'll read them all and let other people ponder those topics, where I will focus on one, maybe two per week that I do address. And maybe that'll be our extra. Maybe that'll be a Saturday episode, because I only want to post, 5 days a week, half-hour segments, 5 days a week, and then a Saturday something. There's inevitably more content. There's always more content than what is exhibited. And that's what BTS, way back when you had your DVDs or your VHSs, sorry, I do need to get this recording thing figured out. There is a pause button where noisy things that pass by will be silenced. But I mean, if I hold the microphone close, I'm working on the tech side. All right, sorry, I'm getting distracted. But in production, there's always more content that makes air. Like, editors cut good stuff out. There's so much good stuff that never gets seen or put onto a DVD or in the director's cut or the expanded version of they spend money on all this amazing, these sets and these actors and all the things, in the really good movies, you just want more and more and more. And so there's more content. So if there are fans of this show, if it ends up being that kind of thing where people like to listen to, for some reason, what I have to say, that's all like icing on the cake. I'm really doing this for at the very least myself and the few people that are interested in what I'm working on. So I should disclose here early on that I am what you might call a Hollywood guy. So the walk that I'm on is in the neighborhood where I live that It just so happens a lot of other movers and shakers live, or whatever. So I don't want to go too much into who I am. I mean, I'll talk all about who I am, but I just don't want to draw any, I don't know, it's not a false humility, it's a sincerity. Genuinely, who I am is not even important. It's just, I've got this thing that I get to work on, and if it goes the way I think it's going to go, it'll be like, whoa. It's a project. It'll be something very interesting, I think, to people. And if anything is interesting to people at all, it's good for the people involved in that project. So I'm involved in a project that it feels like it's going to go in the right direction, and everybody that's involved in it is going to get to be working on something they believe in. Okay, there. I'll stop going on that tangent. I am a Hollywood guy. It's like, I don't want to go into that either. Maybe that'll be a topic one day of what that really means. People have all kinds of misconceptions of what that means. All right, so I'm still working, like I already said, I'm still working on the tech. I've got to figure out how to, pause it in noisy places. I need to make sure the microphone is aimed at my mouth. All right, but that brings us to today's topic. So I did a test run. I'll just tell you the story of the story. Whatever. There's so many stories within stories. It's life. So I was on a test walk, and so I always keep I have earbuds, they're not playing anything. I'm not talking to anyone. I just have an earbud in my ear. It's like I'm wearing this thing. I didn't even have my phone with me on that test. One of the test walks I did, like 2 or 3 test walks, and I was just talking out loud, just walking down the street, talking to nothing recording, no one. And it's like, oh, so if I'm going to be recording a show, and there's always a stage and there's tech set up if there's a show, TV show or radio show, you have to go somewhere. Well, it's like my test walks were like finding my set. And then testing if my voice could be heard audibly in this environment, which I think it can. It's like there's a few optimum spots, and if I just walk back and forth on these streets, I think I can avoid most of the noise. So, walking along, talking to myself. And that's where this topic came from. Walking along, just talking to myself. Just opening my mouth and speaking, and whatever comes out. Right? It's a blessing and a curse. Like, if some people just can't stop talking. Well, I mean, everybody can stop talking, but some people, they're social, I don't know, they have a trigger in social settings or even by themselves. Is something they can't shut off. We all mutter to ourselves every now and then, right? We all mumble. We all, oh, that was good, right? Like you do something stupid and you just ridicule yourself out loud audibly. So you're talking to yourself. It's reflexive. So we all talk to ourselves. I mean, I think everybody listening to this, because if you're listening, like, wait, voices in my head, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, one of the voices in your head is you, right? Anyway, I don't want to go in a direction. I have other things. I know where this conversation is going to go, I hope, because I can tend to get on tangents and I can tend to eat up time. And I don't know if any of that is interesting. Like, if I go off on tangents, will people follow me on that tangent and be able to come back? Will they remember what I was talking about before? And say, wait, I got to find out that one thing. Sometimes I forget. Oh, that's okay. It's another kind of a programming note. Yeah, that would be it. If I do go on a tangent, sometimes I go on a tangent and I forget where the tangent's going, and I do get back to the subject. Right? I mean, I have so much going on in my head. I have so many stories of what's been happening in my life for the last 2 years. So many stories that it's just, that's why I'm doing this. It's like, I don't have time to write it all down. I do journal. I do a lot of journaling. I don't have time to write it all down. It's just I have to work on this project, and I'm disciplining myself to record, take notes, audio notes, and I do some journaling. But it's like limited time. I got to schedule it in, and then get to work on the other stuff. So I think I got a system down. I think this is going to work. This is the actual launch, right? How far in did I go before I even mentioned it? Almost 11 minutes in, right? Launching the podcast, blah, blah, blah. The reason this doesn't feel like the first special whatever is that I did a test recording that'll be posted on Saturday. So this is, the first, I want to start out Monday through Friday and then on the Saturday. So my test record will be the Saturday special. So I want to get back to where this topic goes, because I'm already under 20 minutes left of talking. It's like it goes by so fast to me, because I have so many things I want to say. I have to self-edit because there's so many things I can't say. Just because of the nature of what I do. When you work in this business, you sign contracts that require you to be quiet about what you're working on. You just cannot tell people. And I know I don't know how self-evident that is to people that don't work in this business. I don't know if people realize that when you walk around town, you can talk about any number of things, but there are certain things you just can't talk about with your friends that work in the business at other companies, And so that's kind of what this is. It's like I can self-edit. I can keep it topical. I can talk about any number of things that are happening right now that I'm not contractually forbidden to talk about. But I could talk about things that have happened in the last 2 years. So that's kind of, well, I won't go into detail about that, but I do want to do topical. All waiting. How many people have tuned out by now? Okay, so now I've got people that are still listening. There's some people that'll tune in and listen to 1 minute, they'll listen to 30 seconds. Who knows? Some people listen to 5 minutes. He's not getting back to the topic. Forget it. I just want to know what he had to say about that. Okay, voices in your head. What are they? What are the voices in your head? So I asked the question. It's 12 something. Gosh, I got to keep it. Oh, 13 now. All right. As one of the things that is a part of the process of the things that I do, I want to go this way. I'm at an intersection. I'm going to turn this way. Every now and then I'll be interrupted by an animal passing by, somebody walking. Oh, I can't go that way. There's a jackhammer over there. Jeez. All right. I'm going to go this way. If it gets noisy, I'm going to pause. So there's going to be edits. There will be breaks where I turn the sound off. Boy, have I baited you? I was about to talk about the topic. That's the thing about speaking extemporaneously. That's all I'm doing. It's an extemporaneous topical discussion. And if you want order, I'll tell little stories within stories and randomly babble on. Randomly babble. Anyway, so in the business that I work in, one of the jobs, like there's all these different jobs in Hollywood, people working on sets, people working on casting, looking for the right people, characters, and then there's writers, and there's cinematographers, and there's guys spending the money and budgeting, and there's a couple people here, but sorry. It's a little bit of a parking and public intersection I'm walking across. So in one of those capacities, one of those jobs in Hollywood, the writing part, what the writers are, well, there's all kinds of different books to teach you how to write. There's structure. There's some that say, I mean, there's any number of teacher saying this is the way to make a film. This is the way. This is the best way. And I came across a couple books, settled on one that had a really good, well, we'll get into that. That'll be a topic somebody can bring up in an email if you want to know about the book. I'm going to be as anonymous as possible. Don't want any associations, but I mean, I can mention the book because the writer of the book doesn't know me or anything. And anyway, let's get back. That job as a writer in Hollywood, I'm about to come to a loud street, but I need to cross the street to get to a quieter street. Okay, I'm going to use the pause. All right, that was the very first time I've used that within an episode. I guess what we're going to call these. I've been walking a little while, working on some of the structure of the formatting. What I should say and what I shouldn't say. When I should hit this pause button, especially if I'm on a noisy street. But even before that, I should be able to pause myself and self-edit. Okay, what I'm going to say on the recording. So, only say on the recording what you've thought through. No, that's not extemporaneous. But so I will have brief interruptions. They won't be like 3 days later he said this. No, it will be like within a minute or two. So those cuts are just because I'm getting through a bad or noisy, bad sound quality environment, right? Those cars, get them out of here. I don't want any of them around here at all. Anyway, it'd be nice to just walk these streets with not a single car, especially for this. Okay, so I just saw a couple things. Back to the topic. Oh, I gotta make sure I don't squeak. I have a device here attached to the recording device that makes noise. So I be cognizant of all these production things. Sorry, I'm working out the kinks in this very first episode still, so I apologize. Now, back to as a writer, one of those teachings that, one of those teachers would say, do this, do this, do this. There's a teaching, and I don't remember who said it. It's not in this, I don't think it's in this book. I don't know what teacher it was, but one of the things, I don't know if it's so much even a teaching or as it is what some writers just say, that's what I experience. What's the difference, teaching or explaining something that I experienced? It's kind of the same thing, right? That's what teachers do. They just explain how they learned and what they know, etc. So one of the teachings is in screenwriting, you've got to know your characters, know their goals, know where they're going in life, period. And then put them in a scene together, and let them tell you what they would say. Like, it's just the way it happens. It's like, this is what so-and-so would say, and the voices just start going. They have a conversation, and you have this sensation of simply recording a conversation that you hear in your head, right? There's these voices in your head. You create a character as a point of view, this other character, and you listen to that. It's just how it's explained, how it's described. And so, if you join that conversation, that's, in a sense, what I am engaging in. Here comes a bus. I'm going to cross this way. I will not turn it off. Yeah, I got to pause it again. Sorry, I got to cross. I got across the street, and I just saw one of our neighbors, one of our friends. I waved at her. I mean, I didn't. She's walking her dog, and I'm walking and working. This is my set. All right. Listening, and if you join that conversation, okay, that's where I left off. If you join that conversation and you speak out loud, that's kind of like those people who walk around and just talk out loud. They are speaking extemporaneously. I mean, this is extemporaneous, so I'm just speaking. And when I'm not speaking, I'm having thoughts, right? I'm hearing something, and there is a sense, like we do say this when we talk, we're talking to ourselves, talking. What does that mean, ourselves? The plural, right? No, it's funny. It could work, but I don't know if anybody followed me there on that idea. I'm going to drop it right there, but I'm going to get back to the topic. So, when you are a screenwriter, you are encouraged to listen to the voices in your head. Okay, that's a soundbite right there. When you're a screenwriter, you're encouraged. When you're a screenwriter, you're encouraged to listen to the voices in your head. And man, I've done a little bit of that. I mean, it's not as a profession, but I have. Well, I'm working on my fifth. I think it is. Yeah. I'm teaching myself the structure just because you should know how to write a story if you want to be a storyteller. And that's what this is also about. It's like, ooh, how many tangents will he go on? When will he stay on topic? I mean, I've hardly even scratched the surface of the voices in my head. Let me check how much time I have left. Okay. Oh, wow, under 8 minutes. Here we go. Get real focused because I do want to do an outro. I don't know. I may pause it and give myself a minute and try an outro. We'll see. But got a nice quiet corner. Should probably slow down. Get focused. You're encouraged to listen to the voices in your head if you're a screenwriter. If you're a man just wandering around on the street, they'd send you to a doctor and you'd get labeled schizophrenic. And it's the same thing. If you encourage someone to listen to the voices in their head, I don't know. Now, I do want to go in a little different direction because hold for plane overhead. No, I think you can hear that plane, but I know you can also hear me clearly. So here's the other kind of direction or tangent, kind of related to that. There's there's many world religions, right? There are, how many? There are, I don't know. I mean, there's the major ones. There's Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Am I even naming them correctly? Like, I know there's Muslim and Islam. One's an ethnicity and one's the religion. I don't know. Like Jewish, there's a religious Jew and a secular Jew. So there's all these different permutations that you have to wander through with the different Buddhists. Okay, so what are the percentage? There's also atheist and agnostic, and so all these worldviews, and a huge percentage of them believe in like a heaven. Which means the majority of humans. Statistically, I think the majority of humans are at least associated with a faith that adheres to immortality or an afterlife. However you phrase that, I don't know if there's a difference between those two. Afterlife, does it mean you could die again somewhere else, another life, and then another one after that? Or is it you're just alive forever and ever? This notion of heaven. All right, and so I've studied some of this. I mean, I know a little bit about a bunch of religions and a lot about like two, like Judaism and Christianity, because I've done a little studying in my day, and I mean, you never stop learning, so it's been a long study, and that's my daily walk. You know, my daily walk is talking about that, and one of the teachings, and this is something that I had learned before, and I came back to, or crossed over it again, you know, because when you study, there's a lot to study. It's just a lot of material. I mean, there's like 66 books of the Bible. It's like 66. It's not 66 authors, but there's like 40 authors or something. It's all these different points of view. Like these people went through stuff, and for some reason they accumulated into this one tome. You know, so the Jews have a similar experience where it's like, how many books in the Old Testament? Is it 27 in the New Testament? Whatever the math is, 39. I'll get corrected. I think it's 27 New Testament. Is it 39? Is that how you get to 66? I don't remember the math, but I do remember those numbers barely. Whew. So let me just elaborate. There's people coming up here. I'm going to get my thoughts together. Are you going to bark again? Yeah. All right, so I found a alleyway. Oh, this is a big yard. Let me finish this right now. So this teaching, dog, it's a real dog barking. All right, pause again. All right, I've got 2.5 minutes. She's walking on all these surfaces that make noise. I just walk past the guy. Let me finish this. This one teaching it's kind of central, but there's one phrase. You know, it's like one of these things that they mention, the teaching mentions every now and then, but it holds up with a lot of the other things, a lot of the other teachings. And where is it? I think it's in Hebrew. I think it's like the last verse, somewhere. Early Hebrews chapter 12 or late Hebrews chapter 11. I think it's early Hebrews chapter 12, somewhere there. It says, we, all people who agree with the teachings of this book, right? We, or every human, I don't know if it's distinct, but it might be every human. Epiphany I'm having now. Okay, we are. Okay, it's making a declaration about reality. We are, and then the next word is surrounded. So you look horizontally all around you. You know, you like stand still and look horizontally in every direction and look down. Oh, you're stuck to this ball. For some reason, your feet are like locked into this rock floating through space. And all right, so we are surrounded on every side. Surrounded by. What am I surrounded by? Look around you, just see buildings and structures and a few people here and there, depending on where you are. We are surrounded. Oh man, down to 20. By a great cloud of witnesses. So it's present tense. Everywhere around us, on every side of us, there are. We can't see them, but they're there. Right?